Hello and welcome back to War Thunder and welcome aboard the Leopard A1A1. And the Leopard A1A1 is obviously the new German top tier main battle tank, medium tank, light tank, whatever you want to call it. It is, for all intents and purposes, like the normal Leo 1 or Leopard 1 or Leo 1, whatever. The problem is this. It feels like a downgrade. Now, why is that? Oh boy. It's stock. Yeah, that's what it is. After spading the Leopard, after, getting used to the heat shell, the accuracy of the gun, and also the matter of realistic, I just tried out to give it a go for a few battles. And just have a look at the speed I'm doing. This is what the first point. First of all, the downgrade doesn't feel to be in the speed. It feels fast, to be honest. It feels like the normal Leopard. But this has no upgrades for the mobility so far. I'm not a sellout. I don't have, thousands upon thousands of golden eagles to throw at possible upgrades, to purchase. The thing is this, I have to actually play for all of my upgrades. And when I, want to pay for them with golden eagles, I have to do it out of my wallet so far. And the Leopard doesn't feel to have any real drawbacks mobility-wise. At least for the first 8 battles I got that impression. The thing that I got as an impression is the gun. And it really feels worse than the gun on the Centurion Mark 10, of which I did a tank review. So far I just have the stock AP, the S shell. And yeah, I really was bad at aiming there. That ZSU-57 was behind the ridgeline. The second thing is the additional armor. Does it work? Does it help me? Well, therefore I'm showing you the first part of this battle. Or let's say the first of 2 battles. This is a rather short battle. It just took a few minutes, at least for me. Spoiler. And I think the tank, the additional armor, does it work? Well, you might think now, well, yeah, it's a ZSU-57 that's shooting at me. I survived it or didn't take any damage so far. But I just think that he hit the upper part of the gun mantle from where it can bounce. And now we come to the interesting part. Watch this. There is this gas truck. And I couldn't hit it. And look at this. The door catches all the machine gun rounds. Wow. I was not amused at this point, Americans would have killed it with the 50 cal. The British, I don't know. The Russians for sure. They have also heavy machine guns. But I couldn't. I had no hash, and I didn't want to take the risk to get flanked from the ZSU-57, which I thought would still be there. Now, overall, I have to say that the Leopard A1A1 is basically the same, with the big difference that this vehicle is stock again. So I don't know what to say about it so far. It doesn't feel too different. Like the add-on armor and the heat, the temperature protection around the barrel looks really cool. That's about it. It looks cool. And there we have our candidate. That is a T-54. And that was a good shot that I actually hit him. And watch this. There you have your additional armor. It was actually the AAA gas truck that hurt me so much that I got killed. But the last tick of damage was from the T-54. So let's get into this battle, and that brings me to, yeah, basically the result. This was the last battle that I played for today. It also was the 8th battle in this tank, and after this battle I had overall 10 kills in this tank, and half of them I made in this battle. I have to say I don't like Stalingrad. I really don't like the map overall. I mean, it has its moments. The interior of the fabrics, or yeah, the buildings is really cool design with a lot of love. But overall, the map design itself, the urban combat style with that debris that really hinders your mobility effectively, and we will see in a moment that it costs the enemy more than it costs me. Yeah, I don't like it too much, but I have to deal with it, and a lot of people love this map, a lot of people despise it, some don't care at all, and it shouldn't be any excuse of the results, because at the end of the day, you command the tank. You decide where it stands and in which overall position it is. I'm in a stock tank, and I learned to play very defensively in this tank to, again, flank around. But I also, don't have the option of taking on the enemy head on, like with the upgraded Leopard, with the heat shell, the accuracy of the gun, etc. Yada yada yada. Now at the moment, the enemy already have captured A, but I'm in no hurry to contest it or to go for it. And I'm standing still for a very good reason. You have a lot of senses. One of them, maybe the most important, are your eyes. The second one, most important, are your ears. Have you heard that? I had no idea where it was. I looked at the map. There was no ally. So there had to be an enemy tank in my near vicinity. I looked around, I saw nothing, and there I heard it again. Where is he? Where is he? He must be somewhere to my left. And there he is. And that was actually the drawback of this tank being rather low profile. I couldn't fire over this debris hill, so to speak, or this rubble hill. I tried to get guns on him, but I didn't want to take my chances. And this is basically a standoff. This is one of the worst situations that you could find yourself in something like a Leopard. It is bad in a Hellcat, it is bad in a Leopard, it is bad in everything that can't kill its opponent with one-shot reliable. And yes, I had to shoot through the bush because every single time the bush is in the way. And then this T-54 made a crucial mistake, and I sniped his crew. That was a rather lucky hit. I actually wanted to hit the ammo rack, but I pulled the trigger just that split second too late. The result is still good enough. Now I actually wanted to hit not just the ammo rack, but also the driver to immobilize him, to give me the time to reload and aim more accurately. And that brings me to the next 2 points. First of all, I don't think that this tank is as bad as something like a M48 pattern, M47 pattern, when they are stocked, because they are utterly useless. Well, they are useful for the enemy team to get more points. That's about it. The second point would be that despite having rather bad ammunition in terms of damage dealing, you know, you also have to abuse the enemy's weakness. And the reason why I wanted to disable the T-54 on this position was because he had no gun depression. And I think that he heavily underestimated how fast I can reload my gun. And there is the M60, and I snipe his loader and commander. He's a smart boy, he took out the ammunition out of his turret. And now he knows that I'm there, and I know that he has, I think, just 2 crew members left. So after his first shot, he has a rather long reload. But I don't want to receive the first shot in the first place. And there he is. And I missed. I missed the shot. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And at this moment, I had no idea where I could shoot through it. I knew that I could shoot through the wagon, but I didn't know where to aim. And that was too low, and I have no idea if those was the enemy's shell collapsing the wagon's exterior, so to speak, or if it was indeed my machine gun bullet that gave it the last hit point, so to speak. Doesn't matter, I sniped it through the turret front. At this moment I had to look around if the enemy was really, about to surround me. I was not really feeling confident in my team. It looked rather bad. The kill feed indicated that the enemy was killing more of our tanks than we killed their tanks, or just the sheer number. And I thought it would be yet another defeat. But I wanted to get as many kills as possible. I have to spade this tank anyway someday, so I better give my best in every single battle that I play. And that's another tactic. You see me, not trying to angle my armor. This tank is all about the mobility, so it doesn't matter if you reverse or if you go sideways, whatever. And that was a nice shot, killing the loader and the commander of a T-54, 47 it looked like. And then I spotted the T-10M. First shot, bounces. He doesn't react at all. I correct my aim a little bit, and this time the shell goes where it needs to go. It damaged the cannon breech. And because we are not in arcade, he has no roll of the dice if he can shoot back or not. And that penetration was very good because it killed, I think, the last remaining crew member, despite, except the driver. But again, it's not arcade, so he can't trigger the last man standing, basically, on the field. Actually, he was in the cap circle, I guess, so he had the opportunity, but I think he didn't research it. And then I went for the cap circle. I had it and I bounced something. And I have no idea what it was, but according to the damage, it must have been some sort of solid shots. And I assumed it would be some sort of BT5. You see so many BT5s. Really, I saw like in every battle that I played, when I played with or against the Russians, a BT5, and then I see it doesn't look like a BT5, and I disabled his horizontal turret drive, which is good because he had to manually adjust his aim. I immobilize him again, hanging in the air. He has no opportunity firing back, and the heat shell that he fired at me, you heard that sizzling noise, that indicates that he got shot by a heat shell. It didn't go through. I don't know if he hit me like on the outer side of the add-on armor, or if indeed the spaced armor works. Now, as far as I can tell, spaced armor doesn't protect you against heat shells. I got penetrated and killed more than once by a PT-76 from the front in my Super Pershing, where he shot me through the hull. Yes, through the hull, where there are 3 layers of spaced armor, which are also actually thicker than the combined armor thickness, as far as I can tell. If you know more on this matter, please let me know in the comment section. And we just managed to decap the spawn, or no, the cap circle, sorry about that. And I positioned myself in a position where I hopefully could intercept any opponent that tried to go for the guys in the cap circle. Then I saw it, and the only thing that I could do is track him. I hesitated to shoot the lower hull. It's a T-54 Mark 47, and those have such a trollish armor. When they are angled, you actually could not go through the upper plate even with the heat shell. It's such a troll armor. It's ridiculous. So I actually wanted to shoot him in the side, but it just detracted him, which was fair enough, because the second Leopard in the cap circle could go around him and shoot him in the back, so to speak, because the T-54s have a rather slow turret rotation speed in realistic, especially the 47. So they act more like a heavy tank turret-wise. Yeah, and then I got myself into this position, and I thought, not sure if I can shoot somebody here. I looked around the corner, I saw nothing, and I know that people can actually drive, so I changed position to have a look at different positions if somebody tries to flank us. Somebody was there and shot, and then I heard again an engine noise, but I see nothing. That doesn't mean that nothing is there. And then I saw a ZSU-57. He looked in the other direction, and I blow him apart for my first tank ace in the Leopard A1A1. Very nice. And at this point, I decided to completely play safe. I didn't want to die to practically the last guy. I had no idea in which he was in which vehicle. I had no idea how good this player was. The only thing I know is that he didn't die yet. So he could have been either pretty lucky or being a damn good player, or both, basically. So I just wanted to secure this position from where I had the opportunity to reverse and shoot somebody in the side if he went directly for A, or straight take him head on, which is a pretty damn risk actually if it would be a T10M, which could be very much possible. Yes, good English. And I wrote it in chat, and I saw the plane flying around, so he might have spotted something. And then I heard combat. And then I saw the impact behind me, but I couldn't see anything. But I wanted to have a closer look. The Gepard said that he needs protection, and I look around and I see nothing. I didn't know from which direction it came. Now, in retrospect, I should have reversed a little bit more. On the other hand, now it became clear that it is a Sheridan. And they have, those Sheridans are pretty sneaky when they are played right, but they also have a rather long reload. I'm not sure if he knew that I'm here, if he, is listening to music or something, because a lot of players, don't bother taking the immersion that realistic sometimes, has. And they just ignore the fact that you also could listen for enemy tanks. And I didn't know where he is until the very last moment, because then it didn't matter, because we actually won. And that's the battle. Survivor, 5 kills, 3 assists, and the usual collection of medals. So let's have a quick look at the results, shall we? So for 5 kills, as I said, and 3 assists, I got 34,000 silver lines and 3,654 research points in realistic battle for a win without any boosters. Yeah, and I also was just third in team with 1,593 score points. That's basically the new Leo A1A1. Do I think this is a great tank? Do I think this is a tank going for? Basically, what you get when you used the Leopard 1 to research this tank, what you get is for 380,000 research points, the same tank, but stock. And you have to do all the module grinding again. On the other hand, especially in realistic, it gives you the opportunity to spawn again in a competitive main battle tank, because to this point Germany was the only nation up until this patch 1.63 that had just one really good high tier tank that had the mobility. And the Russians have 3 T-54s at tier 5. The Americans have like what? 5 medium tanks or main battle tanks at tier 5 now. Okay, the first 3 are not very good, and especially stock. But the British had the Centurion Mark 10 and the Chieftain. And what the Germans now have is basically the same conditions. One final thing to note is the advertised gun stabilizing system. And indeed, I have to say, I think it is easier to bring the gun on target, especially on the vertical axis. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comment section what you think about patch 1.63 regarding the German tanks, and give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see each other on the battlefield of War Thunder.